Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Saifuddin and this is Quran Read and Reflect. And today we are going for surah Al-Falaq for the second time, for the second reflection, inshallah. In the last previous episode, we have talked about asking for protection and refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the aspect related to that topic, right? And in this episode we will focus on the last verse, but before that, let's recite and read the surah first before we go and see what kind of reflection that we can take away from the surah, inshallah. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul a'udzu birabbil falaq min syarri ma khalaq wa min syarri ghasikin idza waqab wa min syarri naffasati fil 'uqad wa min syarri hasidin idza hasad. And the translation: Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the daybreak, from evil of which He created, from the evil of darkness when it settles, and from the evil of the blowers of in knots, which is this black magic, and from the evil of an envier when he envies. Right. So, as I mentioned in the last episode, this episode will be dedicated towards the last ayah, the last verse, which focus on those who envy, right, and they can actually harm others from that state of heart. Right. So, hasad. This is a state of the heart, right? I mean, when you envy towards others, and this is an issue, and it does relate back to Surah An-Nas, in episode 2 and 3 that we have covered, where shaitan, the devil, will try to get your heart, will attack your heart, and one of the way our heart can be corrupted is by this hasad. When we envy others, and then it tend to lead towards we want to harm others, or we are happy that others are harmed, etc. Right? So it is a problematic state of heart when if you have hasad. Right. So this does relate back to many of these reflection that we have mentioned for Surah An-Nas, right, in terms of how do we protect our heart, right? And however, I may be adding specific on hasad here, right? In reality, in this world right now, it is common to see that some people become envious of others because what others or what we tend to be showing off to one another, right? For example, right, if you have Instagram, and then it's a norm that everyone is trying to show off something towards others, right? It's not just Instagram, it's many other on social platforms, social media platform, right? It is common, right? Even without social media, people do have a tendency to show off, right, to the neighbor, etc. Right? What more in the reality of when it is made easy to show off in the many social media platform that we have, right? So to protect ourselves, our heart, from this hasad, we should know how to deal with all of this, right? If you have any experiences that is triggered by keep watching others showing off on social media platform, I would suggest that you stop feeding off those kind of content on that social media platform, right? Shift, if you do not want to leave altogether those social media platform, totally shift towards something that is not showing off, that is not of that sort of content, right? So that's the least that I can suggest, because it is not healthy. You are living in a way that, because we consume content from social media a lot, hours and hours, every day, and it can really corrupt your heart if it tend to do that, if it tend to create, meaning you become lack of shukr, lack of thankful for whatever you have. You tend to always see what others having, and you really want that also. You become envious, etc., etc. It is a vicious cycle that you should stop and escape, right? So that's number one. Number two, what about others, right? I think for others within our control, right? For example, our kids, our wife, we should also apply the same thing that we just mentioned just now, right? So they shouldn't be consuming such content which can trigger such hasad inside, right? So that's the easiest way out, I think, in my opinion, right? You can also add on your suggestion and commenting on what other things that I might be thinking of, but that's my suggestion. That's number one. Number two, a question that I really ask, I will want each one of us to think and ponder. Are we responsible for triggering hasad in others? For example, we are the one who keep on showing off on our social media. Maybe we do not intend to trigger hasad in others, right? Envious feeling in others. We just want to share and show off. I don't know, but if you think that it can trigger such a reaction in others, I think we should be mindful of what we are doing and what kind of effect of whatever we do, right? Even if we do not have any evil intention, but if what we do directly contribute towards some evil stuff inside, we might need to consider not doing it anymore, right? So generally, I'm just throwing that out, right? So hopefully we are not responsible, be it we realize it or not, on triggering others to have this envious feeling, right? We're just showing off in many aspects, right? The wealth, the number of car, the type of car, the type of house, the number of kids. I don't know. Some people show off many different things. The someone who is beautiful tend to show off their beauty, right? Does it trigger any envious feeling in others who do not have such beauty, for example? Is it? Does it? Please do ponder on those, hopefully. And because I'm not forcing anyone to do anything, but I do really hope we ponder upon what is the effect of our doing, in terms of the effect to others and to the world. Is it positive or negative, right? Okay, now, is there any such thing of allowed hasad? Can we have any type of hasad? So in this case, I just want to bring two hadiths. Hopefully I'll put it somewhere here on the screen when I'm reading the hadith. There's two hadiths that I can find related to this. Okay, and the first hadith, La hasada illa fisnain. There's no hasad allowed, basically, except for two cases. One is rajulun atahu Allahu malan, a guy, a person who Allah give him wealth, fasallatahu ala halakatihi fil haqq, and he actually give and spend it ala fil haqq, on the truth, right? Wa akharu atahu Allahu hikmah, and another case is when Allah grant or give a person hikmah, wisdom, fahuwa yaqdi biha wa yu'allimuha, and he acts according to it and teach to others. Based on this hadith, you are not allowed to have any envious feeling and hasad except for two cases. One is, if you see someone who Allah give him wealth, do not have hasad because of his wealth. That's not the meaning of this hadith. You cannot be hasad, oh, he has so much wealth. No. What it says is, Allah give him wealth and then he spend it on haqq, he spend it righteously, he spend it on the right path, right? So the envy comes from there. or he can infaq and sadaqah a lot. I really wish I can do that also, right? So that part, the part that when he is given wealth, he spend it on the right path, right? So that part is what you are envy of, right? So I wish I have more wealth to spend and sadaqah and infaq fi sabilillah, for example, right? So that's number one. Number two, if you see someone who Allah give him wisdom, we are not having hasad because of that wisdom, but because what he do with it, right? He act according to the wisdom, and also he teach it to others, right? So when we see someone who have knowledge, wisdom, etc., and he keeps sharing with others, be it in the kulliyah, in the forum, on YouTube, even on blog, whatever, wherever, you should be, you can have, and it's good to have hasad on that, right? He keep on sharing his wisdom with others. I wish I can do that. I want to do that also, right? So that kind of hasad, not just, oh, he have so much knowledge. It doesn't stop there, because the hasad here is not about how much someone have something, be it wisdom or wealth, but how he keep on giving to others. That part is what we can have hasad on, we can be envious on, right? He keep on giving infaq, and he keep on sharing his wisdom, right? So part of what I do and try to do at least is because of that also, right? Because it's not competition in the sense that who gain more views, etc. It's more on he keep on sharing his wisdom, he can share it with others. I don't want to lose out on that kind of feeling, right? That is good, inshallah, right? Number two, so this is the second hadith. La hasada illa fisnain. It start off the same. There's no hasad except for two that is allowed. Rajulun atahu Allahul Qur'an fahuwa yaqumu bihi ana al-lail wa ana an-nahar. Okay, this is interesting. A person, when Allah give him Qur'an, fahuwa yaqum, and he recites it day and night, all the time, right? So it's not about you are jealous because his recitation win an award in musabaqah al-Quran or anything. It's not about that. It's more about he keep on reciting it, he keep on living by the Quran day and night. I really envious on that, right? So that's number one. Number two, warajulun atahu Allahu malan, and a person that Allah gave him wealth, fahuwa yunfiquhu, and he infaq, he give ana al-lail wa ana an-nahar, day and night. He give and give and give day and night. So this one is exactly the same point as before, where someone Allah give him wealth, he keep on sadaqah, he keep on infaq, he keep giving charity on the path of al-haq, on the path of truth, right? So we should be envious on that. And the other one is quite similar. One is saying wisdom, one is saying al-Quran, and he live by it and teach it to others, right? So inshallah, I think based on this surah, one, avoid having any such hasad by whatever means necessary, because if this is always triggered by keep watching social media here, and he have a new bag, he have a new phone, he have a new car, he have a new whatever, stop consuming that if that always trigger envious feeling inside. It's not healthy, right? And also make sure you do not also post things that can trigger hasad in others, right? That's not contributing as well, right? So that's contributing negatively. We should avoid that. And number two, of course, the only hasad that is allowed is when you see others keep on giving on charity, keep on infaq and sadaqah, right? And you want and you wish to do so, that's so, right? And the truth is, if you actually have the right intention or the right type of envy, your action will show, right? So if you claim by your words you are envious at him because he give a lot of sadaqah, I wish I have a lot of wealth also to give sadaqah, your real intention shows by your action, right? Because if you truly are envious at him giving sadaqah, you tend to give sadaqah also, right? Meaning that even if you do not have that much wealth, you tend to give sadaqah. And when you say, hope, I wish I have more to give, you are being truthful, right? But if you never give sadaqah when you have a little thing, it doesn't mean that you actually will give anything also when you have much more wealth, right? Because that's a sign, right? So we have to have the envy at the right place, right? The giving part. And also and this directly relate to this kind of thing, right? If you watch this video or other videos that either shares wisdom, knowledge, tazkirah or whatever, I think because I'm should be envious at others doing so, right? And I hope, I wish, I can do so as well. And I hope you have that kind of reflection as well. It doesn't need to be video on YouTube or Facebook, writing status, posting blogs, vlogs, etc., verbal seminar, whatever type of way that you can do. But it start with being envy at others. Keep on spreading wisdom, knowledge, share the truth, right? Share reminders, and it start from there, and then it develop to the action, inshallah. So that is, I think, hopefully you take that reflection. I do hope that if you have never thought of it that way before, please think of it. Because another thing that this is a topic for another day, hopefully I will touch on it. But another thing that I'm envious of the Sahaba is related to this actually, because we know the hadith that says if you start a new something trend, a good trend, etc., and anyone follows that trend, you get the reward as well as him, and then it grow bigger when a lot of people follow, etc., etc., right? So I do wish I can have a similar impact as well, right? So whenever I do anything like this, my sincere hope is that someone will act on it, and I will be rewarded as well, inshallah. So that's my hope, and I hope you have that kind of feeling as well. You will spread out knowledge, wisdom, whatever we have, reminder, and others will be triggered towards action also, and then you will be rewarded as well, and I will be rewarded as well. So yeah, that's really my passion and my hope, that we keep on sprinting and racing towards, doing good stuff, spreading positivity, spreading the truth, inshallah. Wallahu alam. So avoid the bad kind or all type of hasad except for the good type, which is mentioned. When I say good type, it should be specific on the hadith that is mentioned, right? We cannot justify something. I think this hasad is good. No hasad except these two, in the mention in this two hadith, right? So in that context, I will match up. So one is spending wealth on the haq, on the truth, right? Another one is act according to Qur'an and wisdom, and also spreading and teaching Qur'an and wisdom, inshallah. Wallahu a'lam. Hopefully this will trigger some action in our life, some true passionate feeling that will trigger those action as well, inshallah. Wallahu a'lam. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.